There we go.
Got ahead of you, Susan.
As long as
There we
we
go.
all.
We're recording.
Okay. We just said the flag salute for those watching the recording. Okay, introductions, anybody can introduce? Dan? Usual suspects.
I think it's all our usual suspects.
Okay. Any comments from the audience or the board on a non-agenda item? I just have to say, I woke up this morning with a big smile that Michaela Schiffrin won the gold medal.
Yes.
It's a good day.
And she won both heats.
Oh, did she? Oh, cool. I'm going to go home and watch it tonight.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Presentation report. Our auditor is not with us tonight. What is the status? I don't know if that's.
So we are continuing to communicate when we can get responses. I would tell you communication's been a little bit of a challenge. And we have responded in, I think, a very timely manner when anything has been requested. We're working with OASBO support. We are continuing to try and clean up some less than best practices from previous years. And to some extent, some of our challenges also have to do with e-finance at this point, which is our business suite that we use. And it has been recommended to us moving forward that we look at potentially moving to a different business suite, which is something that Vanessa and I will bring back to you in a future board meeting. But at this point, we have plenty of money in the bank and we are doing a great job. Vanessa's team's doing a great job on grant claiming. And I would anticipate that we'll have an audit to present to you next month.
Okay, all right, thank you. Since you're up, will you continue with your report?
I will. And I don't normally like to read this, but I want to make sure that we get some of these numbers right. The revenue forecast came out at the beginning. The March forecast came out at the beginning of February. And we are hot and heavy into our short legislative session. Oh, but the hole is not as big for our state budget. There is still a deficit, and we're, I think, still going to have to remain vigilant, but there are some things in the works that will help, including Senate Bill 1507, which I believe moved out of committee, and they are continuing forward. That will decouple Oregon from some of the federal tax code that was going to cause us a much bigger problem, and will actually gain back several $100 million if in fact they're able to pass that. So that remains quite positive.
I thought it passed the Senate.
It passed the Senate, and yeah, I don't,
It'll have a hearing, I think, Monday.
In the House?
Yeah.
in the House, yeah. But that's looking good, and that's going to help us. That'll go a long way.
But it wouldn't affect tax year 2024.
It'll affect next year's biennium budget, so that would end up with the hole not being as big. No, the hard part right now is that much of what's happening with us, many of the legislative pieces around ICE, around McKinney-Vento, around decoupling from the federal tax code, are Oregon's direct response to the implications of HR 1.
Yep.
We're seeing quite a bit of that. And so, I mean, quite honestly, McKinney-Vento has been federal law since 1965. And yet our state feels that we need to actually put something into our legislation to protect those students. And so we're seeing quite a bit of that right now.
And we're not the only state.
No, I'm sure we're not. And it's just troubling in my mind that we have to actually go to this extent. I did want to bring forth, because again, this is something that Vanessa and I will bring back to you in the future. Maury, Vanessa, and I all attended the winter conference that was a joint conference between COSA and OASBO last month. And we had several sessions where we talked about PERS side accounts, and I'm sure you all have heard quite a bit about it in the news recently. We did fill out a survey, and OASBO is working at the state level to determine how many districts and ESDs across the state would consider bonding their PERS liability if the market was right, if the interest rates were right, and if it looked like it could be beneficial. We have not made any financial commitment. We've simply expressed interest. because I believe that you all should have that information available to you so that we can take a look at whether or not it makes sense for our ESD or not. We have not had a per site account in the past. Many districts across the state have, some ESDs across the state have. Most have actually benefited quite well from them, to the tunes of, tens of thousands of dollars for districts. Most of them are expiring in the next 18 months. So there is talk around the state about whether or not we work collectively as a state and pool, and if the interest rates are favorable, go out for side accounts again. It could be something that you all want to do a work session on at some point in the future, and Vanessa and I try and get someone in here that can talk more eloquently about it than I can. I know this much, but I wanted to make sure that we at least put our name in as expressing some interest. So we have done that also. I was with Susie in a session. I think, Paul, you went in Hood River when Senator Merkley was here. And I did specifically ask him a question about ICE. And we all know right now, Department of Homeland Security is shut down. He also mentioned in his response to me, though, because he doesn't feel like they're necessarily getting anywhere with the conversations around how ICE comports themselves in public. He also said that he expects that funding is going to continue to be a challenge, even if money is allocated. And that was part of his response when I asked him, because I started by saying, thank you very much for passing the federal, education spending. Wanted to start out on a positive, but his final response was, and I still believe that funding is going to be a challenge over the next couple of years.
It's free anyway.
So, I've done a few local service plan presentations. I have another one tomorrow night. Our component districts are all very favorable to the work that staff is doing. It's quite interesting to go and see how other districts run their board meetings. It's like walking into a teacher's classroom, right? And you're picking up different things. But it's been lovely to hear about how well our staff is received. Thank you.
Thank you, staff.
Add legislatively from
Well,
the ESD Legislative Committee.
yeah, the way it actually is operating, Monday was, if bill had not been heard, it's dead. And then if in the second committee hasn't heard it by, or have it scheduled by Friday, it'll also be dead, with the exception of revenue and a couple other committees. Joint committees, it's not dead, but anyway. However, if somebody has a good idea or otherwise, I can still become a gotten stuff of one of the bills that's already been heard. So I'm always hesitant to say it's going great until we're at close to sine die. There are a number of bills that I think are generating quite a bit of discussion in the public, but will go nowhere. One is probably the Quality Education Commission. It was unfortunately in the dark ages passed in 2000. I kind of called it a educational odyssey, because that's when Space Odyssey was out. Good ideas, but no specific funding, even though there was a mandate that the legislature would say why they're not funding it. And all legislature has to do is say, we don't have the money. And that's still the case. However, there are some bills that we need to be watching, and more about them as they come closer to fruition.
Thank you.
And I might say I get it from both OASD and OSBA and OEA. So.
Okay, all right. Any questions for Dana or Paul? Vanessa, you're up.
Thank you, Chair Nelson, esteemed board members and colleagues. I just wanted to take a moment to share a quick update with some things that are happening with our team and how we're handling this transition over the next couple months. Our administrative assistant, accounts payable and homeschool liaison will be on leave through April.
Is that one person or three people?
That's one person
one
that does
person. I wasn't quite
many
sure.
jobs.
Many hats.
They play, she's super important to our team, and so we're gonna try to just take on those duties temporarily until she comes back, and we're cross-training, kind of I'm trying to process. I've done accounts payable. Actually, I think I've done all the different hats in the department, which is great because I can just step in where I need to. But we're going to be a little behind, but I think we can come together and be flexible and just work together and get this done. I feel like Alyssa has really stepped up in her role as grant manager, and Beth, who has been super instrumental in managing payroll. She's only been with our department for about 4 months, so I'm really impressed with all they've really been working hard. So I feel like they've really been dedicated, and we'll continue to meet the goals that we've set for and move forward. I just feel like I appreciate your patience and continued support as we navigate these. And I had hoped to have the auditors here today, but that didn't work out for us either. Anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. So, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to try to answer those for you. Our current balance as of January 31st is low.
And Doug, you had asked about the LGIP account. It went from 4.1 to 4% just in the last week or so. But we still get 4%.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Okay, moving on. Any other questions for Vanessa? And just looking at revenue, right now, we're at about 34%. And I think Dana indicated that it seemed we were the biggest chunk being not getting our federal grants, grants, period.
Yeah.
What's your take on where we're going to, how we're looking at it?
I think we're looking, I'm feeling really confident in how we're looking. Actually, I felt like in the past, we were not on track with grant claiming. And so I feel like there's more of a flow. And so things seem to be on track as far as claiming all of our, I won't say all of our grants, but most of our grants are open for claims. And doing our meeting with directors and making sure that our expenditures are being tracked and making claims regularly, quarterly, and sometimes if the grant allows, we'll do it monthly. So I feel like we're doing fairly well.
Okay.
Right now. I can say that.
And the state though seems to be the one that's the lowest. Is it just?
We still have grants that's technically started on July 1st, 2025 that we don't have contracts for yet.
Oh my gosh.
So that's a big part of why that when Vanessa and I brought that fiscal board policy to you, we asked for a higher than 5%. Because Maury and I are meeting with one of the grant managers tomorrow morning of a grant we don't have a contract for yet. Elizabeth manages a grant that we don't have a contract for yet.
And they're still saying that they're coming, but
Right.
we're still working through that.
That's not reassuring.
But
is it?
that's procurement at the state level.
Yeah.
That is not an us thing.
They don't give a reason.
It is just slow. So another example, honestly, Susie, is that the state board just recently passed 3 interim assessments that districts have to choose one of the 3, and they have to administer them to kindergarten through 8th grade students 3 times a year. And it's part of the accountability bill that just passed in June. And districts have to start administering those assessments in August or September, whenever they start school this fall. ODE cannot get contracts through their procurement office quickly enough. They cannot negotiate a price. So they came to the ESDs, to the ESD organization, and said, can you all work together and negotiate contracts for your component districts so that they can get a better rate because we can't get it done in time?
Love bureaucracy. Thank you. All right. Yep. Personnel.
Hey, good evening, board and colleagues and all my friends online. Sorry, I can't be there in person. My little roommates passed around a nice chest cold, but not to worry, it's worse than it sounds. So, going on our report, I'm going to keep it brief. The most important thing is our annual staff renewals and contract extensions, which you have in your board packet. That per ORS is due by March 15th, but since that will be prior to our board meeting in March, it's presented to you all tonight to review, and the recommendation is that you approve it. Any questions on that, let me know. The good news is we have our upcoming in-service that Dana probably has mentioned next Friday, and you guys are all invited for lunch. We're having two Fridays. Yeah, the cough syrup is kicking in. Sorry. And we'd love to see you all there for lunch. And if not, we're going to have our late May barbecue in the park. And I'll make sure we try to get you all to that one. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Kip? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Courtney? Thank you. Migrant Ed.
All right. Courtney Middleton, Interim Director of Migrant Education. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully everybody on Zoom can see and everybody in the room. All right, great. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for everybody attending, board members and my colleagues. Oh. Technology. There we go. All right.
There we go. Okay.
All right, as you may know, the Migrant Education Department has 10 staff members, and we work with students in their classrooms primarily, but we also have a number of supplemental programs that happen outside of the classroom. So I wanted to share those with you this evening to highlight some of the work my staff is doing. So we have after-school programs. We are running one at Dry Hollow, the middle school, and Mosier for the first time in maybe ever, but for the first time in a long time for sure. And then we also have a partnership with the After School Academy out at Chenoweth, as well as tutoring support at the high school and Innovations Academy. And Colonel Wright is starting their after school program on Monday. So we've been thinking out of the box with the way we're providing services to our rural school districts. So what we've done in the past is have somebody drive out weekly or twice a month, and that has been semi-successful. But what we're finding is that usually in these rural areas that there is an assistant or maybe a substitute ESP that would like extra hours. And so we're finding that a flow-through model of where the migrant education program is reimbursing that school district for one of their own people to help with the migrant services. And then we can back up a little bit and not go as often. And that saves our department on mileage as well. So that's something that we're thinking about, seeing how the long-term cost analysis will be if they have, most of the service hours from their own person, and then we are going out to support those. So that's something that we are working on for the rural services, but we do still have somebody going to Mosier weekly, Sherman County weekly, and every other week Dufur. We've already started the flow through funding for Arlington, South Wasco. Mosier has both weekly support and flow through, and then Sherman County would like to also continue with weekly support and flow through. So that's exciting. And then we also have programs scheduled for South Wasco County, Gilliam County, and Sherman County for the spring. The way we are serving our out-of-school youth are ages 16 to 21 who haven't finished high school or their GED yet. And so as long as they haven't turned 22, so the day before their 22nd birthday, we can still serve them in our program. And so what we're doing is on Sundays, which is usually if the students are working in agriculture, usually Sunday's their only day off. We have rented out a space and we are doing lunch, English classes, and helping them out with supplies. We're also doing, in addition to the English classes, having Spanish seminars about safety, pesticides, heat and cold, etc. So that's exciting for those students. And then, I forgot to mention, at the end of each of the sessions, we're doing one-on-ones to see what is their future goals. Do they want to get a GED? Do they want to re-enroll in high school? Are they working on job skills? So we can help them set them up for their future.
Is that only in Here in the Dalles.
Yes, but we provide transportation if they give us a 2 days notice. So for example, we're doing one on Sunday, February 22nd, and there's a student out in Mosier. So we're going to have a ride provided from Mosier to the Dalles and so they can participate. Photos. We took a big group to Seaside for the OASE conference, which was a conference specifically for parents that speak Spanish in order to help their children at home, and also for staff such as Title I-C, migrant education programs, and bilingual staff. And that was a really good conference. It was really well done. The organization of the conference changed from last year to this year. So my staff who went last year said it was a little bit different, but they're just kind of establishing themselves. I thought it went well, and hopefully in the future it'll go even better. We were by far the largest group there. We had 60 people in attendance from parents and kids and staff, so that was very exciting. We had a really nice day. As you can see, some blue sky there on our last day. We got to go out to the beach. We went to the aquarium, and then you can see the middle picture there is what the young students, mostly middle school and high schoolers, were able to participate in a game, kind of like a mixture between UN and like a Monopoly, but instead of trying to like be the billionaire, they traded resources. So that was a really cool game. All right, let me think. About 10 days ago, there was an event at Wonderworks where there was a children's performer who dressed up like Beauty, and she read a story, and everybody was invited, but it was all girls on this attendance. And they got to dress up like princesses and hear a story and dance and participate with the Wonderworks Museum. So that was an excellent collaboration. I really enjoy collaborating with Wonderworks. They have a lot of cool programming, and they're working more for Spanish-speaking communities, and they are upping their programming as well. They now have, I believe, 4 Spanish play days where it's similar, where it's a story in English and Spanish, and then they have activities as well. So that's an excellent partnership we have too. We've been doing parent nights a little bit differently. In the past in migrant education, there was a parent meeting for preschool, a parent meeting for elementary, a parent meeting for middle school and high school. And so I thought, why don't we combine all of those and have it like kind of like a mini conference setup? So we tried that in winter. This was January 26th, I believe. So everybody met at the middle school. They got dinner and they heard from the keynote speaker for 1 hour. And the students were able to be excused and go into the gym. And then we did breakout sessions. The one on the left is Nubia and Katie Garrett talking about scholarship opportunities. Our keynote speaker, the other 2 photos, we also had a thank you to the STEM Hub. They partnered with us and we did like healthy screen use for the elementary preschool ages. And then we also had Lillian, who's the keynote speaker, have a Q&A with the parents. And this is proving to be pretty successful. So we're going to do that again in March. And we'll have Lillian back, who is the keynote speaker. And then I'm actually presenting transitions to kindergarten for our preschool families. And then we're going to have a parent focus group from ODE. And just some events we've had this year. On the left was our event at the Art Center that was super popular, Dia de los Muertos, where we painted picture frames and we made flowers, painted skulls. And then you can see the one in the middle was at the high school. The students put on a performance by themselves about different cultural aspects. They painted themselves like Catrinas, which is like the skull women that you see. And then a lot of the girls had their quinceañera dresses. So that was super exciting to watch. And then we played the Grinch down at the Granada. And one of our staff members got to be the Grinch and had a great time picking on everybody, but all in good fun. All right, and excitingly, we have a full budget for summer school. We're going to run summer school June 22nd through July 24th. It's going to be at the Dalles Middle School. It's going to serve students in preschool up to 8th grade, and we're hoping for 400 kids. And I have staffing to hire 50 people for the summer.
And many of the students we serve are not local students.
Correct. Yep, it's about half, I would say. So about half the students live in the Dalles and their families, move to work. And then we also have a big collection of families that come primarily from California, some from Washington as well, and they work for the Cherry Harvest. So it's very important for all the students. We plan summer school with Cherry Harvest, so it's at the same time. And that's an excellent service for the community who comes to the Dells, as well as our own who live here. Any questions?
What are the qualifications to be served by the migrant program?
Working in agriculture and have made a move in order to seek employment
So,
in 3 years.
okay, so if someone who lives in the Dalles has to meet one or of those two qualifications.
It just has to be in the last 3 years. The main qualification is that they work in agriculture and that they have moved. The moves can vary. So a lot of what happens is a lot of our families also do cherries in the Dalles. And then when that season ends, they'll go to like Hermiston and do watermelons, or they'll go up to Washington and do apples. So they are moving with the crops, but their home base is the Dalles. And if the students go with them, they make the move and they qualify for our program. We also have, sustenance. So a lot of families in our program are also Native American because they have sustenance fishing and berry gathering. And there's one more I can't remember, but so that also qualifies as agricultural work.
So the interviews are quite specific.
Yes.
And then Courtney and her team, the interviews are done. They have then a smaller team that reviews the information. And then it actually gets sent off to a statewide agency, OMESC, that then reviews the information. And if you remember a few years ago, there was an audit and a few were found to not qualify. So we have since, there's been a lot more practices put in place. And the last audit that we had came back 100% clean.
Yes.
Great.
Other questions for Courtney?
Well done. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Consent agenda is next. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we accept the consent agenda 5A through E.
Second.
I have a second. You need to ask, thank you. I want to clarify something. There was a question raised about, and I'm addressing it as part of the minutes. It was a discussion, an action item, item D, acceptance of notification, intent to bargain, a successor agreement with the Columbia Gorge ESD Education Association. There was a question about whether we voted to accept. And it was real clear that the motion that Paul made was that we voted to accept the invitation of intent to bargain. I just want to get that on the record and clarify that.
What page are you on? here?
Oh, it's in the minutes.
looking
It's
at
on
the minutes.
page 4 of 6, item D.
Okay, thank you.
And just want to make sure that we have that clear that we voted to accept, and I think it was important that we intend to bargain in good faith and move forward in a very serious manner to work with our education association. So I just wanted some clarification around that item. Anything else on the consent agenda that anybody wants to pull out? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, moving forward. Well, we're not going to do 6A. No audit to accept.
Yeah, I move we approve 6B.
6B, approval of staff renewals, and we have a new 6B. So I think the final one has Maury working full-time and Teresa still working 2/3 time.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That was the final verdict.
Okay, all right, final verdict.
Yep.
That's the voting on.
That's on me. Thanks for the correction.
Poor kid.
Okay, and Paul's, any questions about that? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approval of all the staff renewals as presented with the amended one that came in this evening, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed, same sign. You're all rehired.
And thank you for
Except for-
returning.
Except for Dana. So,
Great.
it said the
It says that.
superintendent's.
I'm not covered under that ORS.
Okay, a few other information items. We have technology report on North Wasco D21 technology report. the agenda for the all-staff day and lunches at what time?
Lunch is 12 to 1:15.
Okay. I think I will be there.
Great.
12:15 to 1.
12:15 to 1, okay. But yeah, I think our session's out at noon. I'm very careful about making sure we have plenty of walking time because we're in the health services building and in this building, but lunch will be in this building.
Other board members think they might have.
What day is this again?
Friday, March
Oh,
6th.
I'll be gone. Yeah, I'll be gone. I leave,
And the one thing I would say, if there is time in your schedule at all, the session just prior to lunch and the session just after lunch, one of the offerings will be by a couple of folks from the next door.
oh, great.
Many of our staff have expressed concern and are dealing with a lot of uncertainty around ICE presence in our community.
Yes.
And it's really important to me that individuals know how they can stay safe and that whether it is a client that they're working with, a student that they're working with, or themselves or a next door neighbor, that they also know where to go in the community to get support and resources. We have our lane and the next door is a fabulous partner and they have many, many resources to help immigrant families. And so I've talked to them on a few occasions and they're going to come and engage our staff in conversation and share their resources. So if you're able to hang out for a little bit and go to one of those sessions, I would highly recommend it. They've hired a community health worker specifically to support families in our communities.
I did see the agenda, didn't I?
It's in this,
In this.
it's in the packet.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
rough
right, sure I
draft.
did.
Once I have the nice pretty copy that Mercedes does for us, I will send it out to you.
Item C, updated Columbia Board GSD Department Program overviews.
Oh, and we did a hot link because it's such a large file.
Oh,
And it
okay.
is also posted on our website.
Okay, it's online, okay. And OAESD Spring Conference, May 13 to 15. Actually, for the board, it's 14.
14 and 15, yeah.
And it is in,
It's in Sun River. We have George Mendoza, who's the superintendent of the year from Oregon, speaking. Dr. Charlene Williams will be speaking. And they actually have the National Association of ESDs. It's not called that. It's called AASA. And I honestly can't remember the acronym, but I believe, I don't know whether she's virtual or in person, but she will be there also. So I think there's going to be several very good presenters and they always have great breakout sessions. I believe that we have folks from our own team that are going to be doing one of the breakout sessions.
Oh, good.
Yep.
It's a bit of a paperwork. We'll find out next week.
Well, you did a good job last year. I would say I sure better have you back this year.
okay.
I'm planning to attend.
Oh, good.
For that.
I'm maybe.
Okay.
Planning to attend too. Yeah.
I think, yeah, maybe for me too.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Great.
And you're
Anything
talking
else?
about Joan Wade. She is a good speaker.
Yes, that's who I'm speaking about.
She's a
Thank
very
you,
good
Paul.
speaker.
Thank
We
you.
might want to ask Pat if she could come by, because she was on that board when Joan became the exec.
See, it's an Association of Education Support,
Or agencies, maybe?
no, American Education Support Agency. AES is education
AES,
support.
yeah.
Because they're different things and different.
Yes, they are.
Okay, we will recess into executive session. Columbia Board GSD will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I, to review and evaluate employment-related performance of the chief executive officer or any public body if this public officer, employee, and staff member does not request an open hearing. Executive session is closed for public. Representatives, news media, and designated guests will be allowed to attend, but we don't have any of those folks. And no news media, well, I don't know, they may be online. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said during the executive session except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decisions may be made in executive session. Into the executive session, the board will return to open session and will welcome the audience back in the room. Okay. Want me
Okay.
to sign that, Susan?
Yes, please. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording.
Okay.
I thought she said, I'm gonna go ahead and stuff the record.
Let's
Hold
not
on,
do that.
not done yet, not done yet.
Oh,
Okay, we'll
God.
take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hold on, I'm
Say,
still
we're
trying
gonna
to
take
get
a
it.
Susie break.
Oh,
Oh.
Susan.
Yeah, don't anybody talk.
Don't.
Big stuff.